game is What If? Hey, Jeff Saturday. What if Saquon Barkley leads the Eagles to a Super Bowl victory?
Well, it'll be the greatest running back season in history because he's going to put up some numbers. And then it will be the greatest free agent signing possibly in history. I mean, it doesn't get any better than this. And all because Graziano wanted him to go to the Eagles, which I absolutely love. But that's the what if. He would lead them. He would run. It would be an incredible signing. And again, probably the greatest season in running back history.
Put it right there with Tom Brady,
yes,
who led a team to a Super Bowl in one season. Neek, what if Patrick Mahomes leads Kansas City to a three-peat?
Oh, that's easy. You brought his name up already. Tom Brady is getting suited up, and he's coming back. He's not going to take this lying down. You guys better find some old linemen and get him over to Vegas.
Raiders need a quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
You think Tom Brady, while he still has breath in his lungs, is going to sit here and let us start calling somebody else the GOAT, realistically? Because that's what's going to start happening.
He is the best quarterback they have right now. Graziano, what if Josh Allen never wins a Super Bowl?
I mean, he'll still be rich. What if? He'll be Dan Marino, right? That level of player that we remember as excellent. But one of the second or third thing you say about him is, but he never got it done. It'll hang on him, I'm sure, and he'll regret it. But this is still going to be probably a Hall of Fame caliber career based on the way it started.
Oh, I think that's for sure. In the meantime, let's do expert review, which is brought to you by Tax Act. So, a lot of us were going to do a thing called blame game. Who was to blame for the Bills losing? And then Jeff completely tore that up in our meeting this morning because you've got two plays that you will highlight here that you think were there to be made that cost the Bills the game.
Yeah, we can go 50-50, offense and defense, right? You talk about a team game, and we'll start on the offensive side, right? You have the fourth down that everybody has broken down, all over social media. But the reality is you're coming out of a 2-minute. You have 4 players on one side. So that means as you're looking at this as an offensive lineman, there is no way they can bring pressure from that left side. You have the motion that's coming back, and all of a sudden, there's like this surprise. And the part that frustrates me the most is this. As an offensive lineman and as a quarterback, you understand coming out of a 2-minute, typically defenses will try to blitz you. Also, when you're at that, right at the 50-yard line, high tendency you're getting blitzed. Now add on that it's 4th and 5. You're playing Spags, who wants to blitz you all the time. They were surprised is probably the most frustrating thing for me. And as I looked at this a number of different ways, whether you blame the quarterback, blame the offensive line, who knows how it played out. But they had an opportunity to make a play, and they didn't make it. And Josh Allen almost in a miraculous way did it. Now let's flip it over. The defense, the Chiefs gave him another opportunity. Pacheco went out of bounds, so it gave him more time. 3rd and 9, y'all. Not 3rd and 3, 3rd and 9. And they're running man coverage, and a running back out of the backfield gets a check down that goes to complete the first. It is just, you had every opportunity. If you're the Bills and you're complaining about calls or whatever it is, you had every opportunity to win this game. And when the execution mattered, you didn't execute on 2 fundamental plays. These are not tricky. This is not like, oh, man. And everybody, and listen, I love Spags, right? He's done a great job. There was nothing. I'm sitting on my couch with my son, my wife, and my son's girlfriend, and we're having a conversation. I literally glance over, they're going to bring heat from the – and literally
No, say that more slowly. Okay. You said they're going to bring heat from the right.
From the right side. Because as an
Show the play again. So when we set it up here, you're saying someone, and I'm asking you, who should have been aware, looking at the formation and everything else, if we can roll that play again, where should they have seen that coming?
If you're the center or the quarterback, and you see you have quads to a side, and you only have 4 players that are capable of covering, whether it was a mugged linebacker up in the A-gap who is going to bail out. There's no other player that you can bring pressure on that side, right? Because it fundamentally won't occur.
I think so. What Jeff is pointing out is for you to send a blitz, you normally have a player cap. Right here, there's 4 eligible to this side. So you know that guy who's mugged in the A-gap, he's just playing because he got to get out there to that 4th guy. And you know that on the left side, there is someone there that can cap and recover. So you know if a blitz is coming, that is coming from the right side. So you should slide. What Jeff is saying, I think, you should slide your O-line
to the
that.
other way.
They went the other way and let two guys go through that big gap without anybody.
So we're sort of, this is for the advanced class now, but I think it is interesting and instructive. What I want to know is, whose job is it?
Yeah.
Is it the quarterback's job to recognize it? Is it the one member of the offensive line?
So for like us, it would have been me and Peyton. So I don't know how their structure is. If it's a guard makes the call, the center makes the call. I don't know who, but I can tell you this: it's coming out of a timeout. So the offensive line coach should be talking to whoever they talk to, going, hey, it's going to be a blitz. And there is no doubt we're going to get this. Antenna should be up. Like, have those conversations.
They blitzed them to play before, and they called a screen, which is a perfect call, but the Chiefs ran and hustled down and made the tackle. But in this situation, I think part of the thing that's frustrating is the reason why you get in empty, or part of the reason why you get in empty and you get in quads, is it forces the defense to player. If you have guys in the backfield and they're all condensed like that, then you can't really tell who's covering who. You spread them out and you put 4 to one side. It's like, all right, you guys are not going to let us have 4 on 3 over here, or 2 on 1 over here. And that's what it came down to. Is so they came out presumably because they know Spags is going to blitz, because he does in that situation always. They had a formation that's designed to get them to show where they're coming from. They showed where they were coming from.
Whatever, right? Like the play.
The offensive coordinator, Joe Brady.
Joe Brady. But the problem is, to your point, they got the picture they needed. Right. I'm just telling you, like, I played the game 14 years. You see safety rotate. You can tell there is no way possible they can bring a blitz from this side. And so it blew me away because it was such a simple solution to the problem. Whether you had the protection wrong at the beginning of the play, but fix it. Like, somebody make a quick adjustment. And so now you have, even if you're the right guard, like, who are you trying to collect? At least grab the guy in front of you. And again, that might not be, I'm not trying to assign blame, but it's just too many mistakes were made. So when everybody tries to scapegoat or feel, this is execution, y'all. There's nothing more simple than understanding which side in that.
It's also important to point out that the players that Jeff is counting is like linebackers and defensive backs.
Right.
So to that left side, you're like, all right, you're not going to let a receiver get guarded by a defensive end. So you're counting essentially linebackers and defensive backs versus how many eligible receivers you have. If the numbers add up and they even each other out, you guys can't send anyone because presumably you will be leaving someone uncovered. On the other side, they had one receiver with a corner on top of him and a safety over top of him.
Right.
So that's what Jeff is saying, is like, you see this. He could come and he could replace him. Over there's no one there to replace. So why would you then say we're blocking as if we know they're coming from this side?
Because they're in a full slide. Yeah. Like, they turn their protection, right? It would have been easy to call a poker call where you put 5 on 5 and you kind of filter it out. But it was like, again, this is not like 401, y'all. This is counting very simply, right? Left and right across the center's nose. There's nothing difficult about it.
That's why I wanted to do it. I know it was very X and O-y, but I think it was an important and interesting explanation. I mean, every single one of these plays requires the right execution.
Absolutely.
And in the worst possible moment, they didn't get it right.
Pitches it out to Barkley, takes off to the outside. He's going to go! He's going to go! Touchdown! 60 yards! Feeds Barkley off to the outside. His second touchdown of the game. Hurts is going to throw. He's back. He fires. He completes it. Touchdown! Daniels. It is Quinyon Mitchell who comes down with the ball. What a team, what a season, but it's not over yet.
Final point for this week. As the Eagles get ready to embark for New Orleans, it is worth a moment of reflection on how last season finished. Philly lost 6 of its last 7 games with an offense that completely disappeared and a defense that ranked 30th in scoring that was the worst in the history of the franchise. It couldn't have looked more bleak for the Birds. And then General Manager Howie Roseman orchestrated what may have been the single greatest offseason in the history of the league. Start with the defense. Roseman brought in Vic Fangio to be the coordinator, someone who had been in charge of a top 3 defense 6 times in his career. And then he completely revamped a secondary that was ranked 31st in the league. He drafted 2 corners in the top 40, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean. Roseman also plucked a little-known linebacker named Zach Baun off of the Saints practice squad. If you say you noticed that move when it was made, I don't believe you. But overnight, those additions changed this defense into a force. They finished top 2 in both scoring and total defense for the first time since 1981. In these playoffs alone, they've had 10 takeaways, 3 of them from Vaughn, 2 of them from Mitchell. Now on offense, of course, Roseman signed Saquon Barkley, giving the 27-year-old running back $26 million guaranteed dollars. And in return, he added 50 explosive plays, the most of any player in the league. Quite literally, everything Roseman has touched this year turned to gold. Barkley, Vaughn, DeGene, Mitchell, and Fangio are all finalists for 5 different awards. While Barkley and Vaughn were both named first-team All-Pro. This is just the 3rd time in the Super Bowl era that a team has 2 veteran first-team All-Pro selections who did not play for them the previous season. So draftings, signings, coaching hires. Most general managers would be proud if all those home runs got hit over the course of an entire career. Howie Roseman knocked them out in one off season, and as a result, he may find the Lombardi waiting for him when he finishes circling the bases in New Orleans. That's what I think of the person who deserves the credit in Philadelphia. Nick, your thoughts?
I mean, I think you nailed it. You left Mekhi Becton off. He took a tackle and moved him to guard, which has really made that offensive line and continued to strengthen that offensive line. What they've done there has been incredibly impressive, and we've had over the course of, I guess, like 10 or 15 years, there's normally a time when a team wins a Super Bowl that does not have one of those kind of great, all-time great quarterbacks. And it comes when you have a roster like this, and it seems like they've put together a roster that could potentially, I don't want to say the crazy thing because we know Patrick Mahomes never loses,
right.
But this talent on this roster, as you pointed out, I think it's unmatched in the NFL right now.
Dan, you were making a point about urgency in our meeting this morning, that from a salary cap standpoint, they need to get it done right now.
Pretty much. Like when they did Jalen Hurts' contract extension last offseason, they sort of floated a lot of the cash payments into the middle and back end of the contract so that they could, sign A.J. Brown, sign Devontae Smith, keep Jason Kelce one more year that they did last year. So there are some bills coming due. It's going to be impossible, I think, for them to keep everyone on defense. Right? You talk about Zach Vaughn, Milton Williams, the D tackle, who's having a big year. He's going to be a free agent. Josh Sweat, one of their edge rushers. They're going to have to make some decisions like that. Does Mekhi Becton go cash in off a big year, and can they afford to keep him? So they are in that zone. Hurts cap numbers and cash payments are going to start to go up here as the contract goes along. Same with Devontae Smith. They got a nice first-year cash flow situation with him. So, yes, but, I mean, to your point, Howie Roseman's done this before and knows how, so it'll be a matter of finding the next Zach Vaughn.
Yeah, and I think we forget, like, Kelce is gone, Fletcher Cox is gone, Brendan Graham got hurt. Right? They're 3 kind of. Yeah. You would think a team would take a step back, and it's like all those players, as great as they all were, the team continues to get better and set new. It's amazing. Like you have to tip your cap to it. And again, the stability of their coaching this season with Fangio coming in at defensive coordinator, and then we think about Kellen Moore. And the commitment to Saquon Barkley in the run game, it complemented all of it, and I got a ton of respect for it.
Kellen Moore had a visit last night from several members of the New Orleans Saints organization it might be interested in taking him away from the Eagles when this season's over. So that's worth watching. But yeah, I think that's important to say, and I think you talk about those guys, Kelce and Fletcher Cox and then Brandon Graham. That was like a leadership core for them.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, to the point about Saquon maybe adding to that, like coming in as a new guy and being able to pull that off. Yeah, I mean, look, they're in the Super Bowl. They deserve all the credit.
So let me throw a thought at you because, I mean, we view the Chiefs now as sort of this inevitable force for all the right reasons. They just keep winning even through games where it doesn't really seem to make sense that they would. So I understand that. If we were just to take that out of the equation and we were just to line up the names on one side and the names on the other, if I said to you the Eagles are the better team in the Super Bowl, would I be right?
I wouldn't say better team. I'd say more talented team.
Okay, well that's what I mean. The players, they have more good, better players. Just terrible English, but you know what I mean, than the Chiefs do.
Yeah, you go throughout the roster and look and check every grid, left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, and go all the way through. You would say that the Eagles roster is tough to beat in the NFL. Just being honest from all, and I'm not even talking about the accolades, right? Because all that stuff can be what it is. You're talking about players that make plays each and every week. It would be tough to say that they're not.
Positional value. though they have the one position that is more valuable than any other, they are better. The Chiefs, that is, they are better at that position, and that's the quarterback. And it's not just that he's better than just about any quarterback we've ever seen in those most important moments. So I think I agree with Jeff. They're definitely more talented team, but that one position.
Well, you guys made a good point when I brought this up this morning in our meeting, and that I said, look, if Jalen Hurts is going to throw the ball like that, whatever it is that happened on Sunday, if Jalen Hurts is suddenly finding A.J. Brown down the field and all the rest of that, and they've got the running game that they have, that feels like a fairly unstoppable force.
And the run defense of the Washington Commanders was a deficiency for them this year, and that showed up, obviously, as it often does when you play Saquon Barkley. But I think the Chiefs will be better up front. I think, look, the Chiefs are the Chiefs, right? I've sat here every single Friday all season, and when you put the graphic up, pick the Chiefs game, I'm the only one picking the Chiefs. Yep. They're 16-2, they're 17-2. Like, I mean, they know how to win these games.
Yes.
And that sounds like a thing, like, that's not an X's and O's thing. It's not I played the game. But fundamentally, like, they are exceptional at immediately figuring out what kind of game they're in and then what they need to do to win. I heard a lot of Tiger Woods talk on this show yesterday when I was watching, talking about Tiger and how he used to intimidate opponents. But the thing I thought when I'm comparing them to Tiger Woods is, you know, if Tiger would have a day where the driver wasn't working and he's missing the fairway, like, he would be able to figure out, okay, here's what I need to do today to fix this. Here's the kind of shots I need to hit that other people can't hit. That's Mahomes and Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, and that's why they are so lethal, and that their top skill is winning the game.
It reminds me a lot of, like, the Warriors during their run, in that they've been in so many of these moments that they don't need to come to the sideline and have the coach explain to them how to address this problem. It's like they're doing this. This is how this team is trying to beat us. You know, you remember 3 years ago, another group tried that. So we answer that with this. They're ready for every situation because they've been in them so long and they have such a good core.
The piece that you saw when the Chiefs came back from the Bills, the last 13 seconds, and Travis Kelce talking to Patrick Mahomes, they have problem solvers that are players, not just coaches. That stuff matters. I will say this about the Chiefs too, that I hope the Eagles don't fall into this trap. They bait you into playing their style of game. And if you're the Eagles, and I'm just saying, you said the Chiefs have a top 10 rush defense, right? So maybe we should try. So you got to do what got you here. You better put the pads and the onus and go run in between that, because the Houston Texans ran the ball fairly decent. Cooks was running the ball fairly decent against this Chiefs. What happens is teams fall out of what they should be doing, and they fall into the trap of the game that the Chiefs want to play. You have to be well coached. You got to be well versed and confident in your plan. That's how you execute against you. Because if you get caught up like the Ravens did in the AFC Championship game last year or last week, when you have 7 plays and Cook doesn't touch the ball, I got issue with it, man.